Thank you, Jim. Jim's been generous with his words, and all I can tell you is I'm a founder, builder. I love technology. I've been doing this for the last 35 years, and it's fun to build stuff, and especially when you're building in the latest and the greatest AI and AI things. I think you all are going to have fun today. It's gonna be fun. A little uh, session. It's not all about your Chat GPT or Claude. I know many of you probably are also using Gemini, but it's going to be about uh, things like MCP apps, Model Context Protocol apps. How do you build MCP builders, and how do you connect them into your systems that are going to, have a conversation with, let's call it Cloudflare in the back end or a RAG database? How does it all come together? I think anybody who is technical is going to have a kick out of this. And anybody who's not technical, you're going to learn a lot more about concepts of your ISO 27001, which is cybersecurity compliance, 42001. If anybody is thinking about AI and AI systems and compliance, it's 42001. For those that are in Texas, Texas just launched their or approved the bill passed called TREGA, which is Texas AI Governance Act. It started on January 1st, 2026. So there's a lot going on in the world of AI. So more apps we build, more governance and regulation comes in. More regulation comes in. We all want to be compliant and we want to do the right job. So today is about AI-powered simulators. And I prepared for 2 hours, Jim, and I'm going to try and do this in one. Right?
All right.
So let's do this. Let's do this. But I think it's going to be fun. Architecting self-operating knowledge factory. We will talk about why this is all about knowledge factory. And so who is Nine Brains? Nine Brains is a company that is focused on building advisory services for AI and through building capable infrastructure. And that capable infrastructure is focused on three things. One is building the diagnostics. In the world of AI, one of the big things that we all know about, hey, if I see a pattern, I can build an app. So what do you do next? Right? What comes after pattern? After pattern comes framework. Well, what happens after framework? What comes systems? Okay, what happens after system? Meta systems. What comes after meta systems? Cognitive core. So if you're thinking about patterns, frameworks, systems, meta systems, cognitive core, somewhere in this ladder we fit as humans. And as we learn more, we have to learn even more, right? Further. So, okay, once we build it, we got to figure out where the gaps are so I can help you help the systems in the flow of work. And the flow of work means getting you the knowledge you need. In this scenario, the number two is where we're going to spend most time, is through simulation. And last but not the least is how do you provide verified credentials, whether it's to yourself or agents, human plus agents, worldwide, W3C consortiums, um, verified credentials. So when we do all this, you're going to have clear gap identification, demonstrated capability, verified proof. That's what we are focused on. I spent last 11, 12 years in the world of workforce development. The more I do this, I've realized that things have changed right under our feet, right? And it's not about certifications alone. Certifications are great to have, but how do you prove capability, right? So let's talk about that. So the biggest one is some things that have changed in the last, I would say, couple of years, thanks to AI, and more so in the last 9 months, thanks to Claude. Anybody who's been playing around with Claude, there is a dispatch. You can actually talk to your AI agent from your phone. Welcome to the party, right? That's all. The world has already changed for us. So we are used to continuous on-demand content generation in the AI native model. And we are coming from a world where, hey, I'm going to take a 5-day, 40-hour course to get certified in Google, and a monolithic course. And anytime you want to build a course that is certification granting, it takes a lot of time to build. And in the past, it was all right to build that kind of course and model and certification. And when we did it, we had to do it at a scale that was justified investment. Today, you can learn by simply prompting. How do we get the content you're looking for in the flow of work and one that is changing every single day? Right? So we got to get to a point where we are building content that is smaller, composable, and you can do something with those composed atoms. We call atom, and I'll tell you why it's called an atom in a second. But so the building capabilities in the world of AI, in the flow of work, is what we are going to talk about today. The left side and the right side, we're going to spend a lot of time on the right, the AI native grid. The big thing to note out of this left side legacy model is it takes time to build a course and in general, the rule of thumb for us in the past has been anytime we want to roll out something new was 10 to 15 weeks production cycle. And 10 to weeks production cycle is too long. So he said, okay, what is the better way to do it? Well, compose it to smallest granular unit, and we should be able to do it quickly. And you should be able to assemble it on your end in Claude or in ChatGPT. Okay. So that's Atom that we're calling the lowest granular unit of knowledge. In our world, at 9brains, we call it a cubelet. A cubelet has 6 faces. It's a cube. And when, what, how, apply, those are the 3, 4 W's and H and apply. This picture is absolutely not, it's not exact to the point, but it's a cube, and the cube is the lowest granular unit of knowledge, and you can compose them. And let's see how that all works, right? And why do we need to do this? Why simulation? It turns out simulation is the best way to practice. And what we're going to do in the demo in a second is the word CMMC here stands for Cybersecurity Maturity Model Compliance. Anybody who works for defense in the defense industrial base will know that if you want to work with the Department of Defense, you have to have a contract that passes the mustard. Passing the mustard simply is, you're secure, your controlled unclassified information is gated, it is locked, and you're doing everything right by the book. Yes, when somebody comes and audits you, you can provide a documentation, your security policies and all those docs, incident management, security policies that clearly prove that you are meeting the standards to work with Department of Defense. Also, we're going to use that as an example. And you will see that you can actually conduct interviews. There is anybody who plays games, there's a thing called non-playing character, right? NPCs. And so you can actually engage with an NPC inside of your Claude agent. Real world complexity, there are diverse personas. You can introduce different personalities in the NPC characters. And we'll play, right? Let's play for a second or two. What you're going to see on the left side, and this is signal to simulator. How do we keep an ear to the ground? Things change every single day, which means we got to have a factory that is listening 100% of the time. We got to listen to the marketplace. We got to listen to what you're telling us as a feedback from the audience. And we got to take all that, listen, and kind of configure the knowledge atom almost on the fly in near real time. Right? So one on the left is a course factory that I'm going to show you. We built it in the neumorphic style. Right? Anybody who plays around with interfaces, it's a neumorphic style. It actually looks like a factory with that yellow guarded colors on the left. One in the middle is a Claude, and what you see there is the picture that's showing up is an MCP app, right? It's an MCP user interface. When you actually talk to it, it returns an interface, not just a result as a text. And for those that are counting number of times I said MCP, it was released in January of 2026, that MCP UI. And so it's been less than 90 days, and we are already incorporated MCP user interface into our system. One on the right, extreme right, is ChatGPT. So for us, it does not matter whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT. MCP is MCP. You connect, you get the same results, right? Except that on the right side, I don't have MCP UI enabled yet. Let's do a demo, right? CMMC simulator in Claude. Let me see if I can pull this up. Jim, let me know if you see it.
Yeah, it looks like Claude interface coming up.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. So one of the things we did is we added a connector, and the connector is that.
Just one. Can you make it maybe one more, at least one more zoom in to make the text a little bigger?
How about now?
Yeah, that looks
Okay.
good.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. All right. So what you have here is connectors, and the connectors here is you see two connectors here. They are MCP, CMMC, kubelets platform. Kubelet, I told you, is a six-faced in a cube, and it's a platform that is running from our factory. And I will show you factory 2 that is also enabled through MCP. And first and foremost, right, this is a kubelet. Now, one of the first things, the big picture is, hey, you got to know is, hey, what is the big picture, right, of CMMC? And show me in the world of CMMC, they're organized as domains and practices, and says, hey, show me the list of domains and practices of CMMC, and CMMC stands for Cybersecurity Maturity Model Compliance. If you ever do any kind of certifications, they are all set up as domains, and then you have learning objectives, and you pass. So something very similar, right? So before you know it, right, it is going to query your MCP and its associated security practices. And next thing you know is it's going to start displaying the content in the, hopefully, give me a second. What it did not do yeah, there. It broke down the entire system into domains and practices. It's walking us through what does it mean to have a level 1, level 2, level 3 practice. Can say, hey, I am a consultant. I'm a consultant getting ready to assess an organization. Help me with the process of level 2 CMMC journey. And I want to make sure one more time that I have my connectors.
And do you want to, when you said level 2, it just typed LE. Do you want to have it say level 2?
Yes. Yeah. Level 2. This is a typo, right? And
then while Claude is thinking, Devin Webb had a question in the chat. I think just trying to place where kubelets fit. So so kubelets is a kind of your terminology for the smallest block of learning.
yes.
And by having your factory hooked up to Claude, it's just a way to provide Claude that context from the CMMC factory and have it with that very distinct knowledge base to kind of power the questions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So what you have is a huge factory of production, and this production has gone through taking every piece of content related to CMMC and broke it down into 5 levels of competencies. And these competencies are patterns, number one, level one. Level two is systems. Level three is system of systems. Level four is your meta systems, and number five is cognitive core. So it has 5 levels of competencies and 6 phases. So every unit of work is broken down into almost 30, 6 times 5, 30 pieces of content. And these are just layered in such a way that based on the expertise of an individual, if you're a noob, you're going to get level one, 6 phases, cubes, and all the way to if you're a leader looking at return on investment, total cost of ownership, and things around how to apply these to organizational change, you get system of systems level thinking. All that happens inside of your Claude automatically.
Yeah,
I hope.
and the way, and just a technical way on the way this is set up with Claude, you've exposed that factory via an MCP server and then added in as a tool for Claude to be able to call out to it, and it'll ask that tool for the context that it needs and then feeds that into the LLM to figure out how to answer your question.
Think about LLM as your orchestrator, right? And the tools are tools, and the engine, is powered by your connector. And I'll show you. Give me a second here, right? And so if you ever do the settings on the, you will see in the connectors, you have your kubelets platform, and the kubelets platform has 16 different interactive tools from, hey, give me a kubelet, give me CMMC practices, give me domains, give me quizzes, give me start a simulation, simulation interview, request addition, submit scores, and you can ask for feedback, coach feedback, and all that stuff right inside it. And the beauty of this is it is headless, right? I'm not the one creating user interface other than, right, the artifact production is all coming from Claude itself, right?
Yep.
All we're providing is the content that goes into it, right? I'm looking to see how to get back.
Yeah. So Devin, hopefully that what Sravan was showing in that discussion kind of helps you understand what's going on.
Yeah. So if you say, hey, I want to play, where do you want to start a simulation? You want to play an assessor role, run a gap analysis, or run into. It says, I want to play play the assessor role, and next thing you know is it's going to suggest a company or two. It's looking at defining, it'll spin up a simulation, and it's starting a simulation now. Here is Atlantic Logistics Corporation, and there are about at least, I think, 10 in the model, 10 different companies with different characteristics. And it's saying, look, it's a Norfolk logistics company, 280 workstations, 18 servers. Your main task is to assess, your ACL2, level 2, 3.1.1, foundational access control. And here's where the interview process starts. Ask questions to any personnel to understand how they implemented a good practice and who are they, who can you talk to. It's clearly saying there are a few people available, and a few people, for example, Patricia Johnson, and says, hey, I would for Patricia, right? How many locations do you have for Atlantic Logistics Corporation? Why? Because for access control, I want to know how many people are local, say in Texas, and how many are remote, and how is the control really configured. And hopefully, Patricia is going to come back and give me an answer, or Patricia is going to deflect, and she's going to punt it and give it to somebody else. If punting is happening, right? If punting is happening, it means the roles are not very clear, right? So look at this. But Patricia sent it to Thomas Anderson, not same as James Anderson, Thomas, right? Anderson. Say, hey, we use Active Directory for most access control. We really don't have time to do regular access reviews. Interesting, right? The simulation routed the question to Patricia. What revealed is actually a gold mine of assessment. So two critical things came out. First, Thomas addressed that they don't do regular access review, and that's a significant gap which requires limiting access to authorized users. So it's also saying one big flag, observation that user account 387 significantly exceeds their employee count 312. So where are these 75 extra accounts coming from? Right? And you can ask the same question again, ask them about more locations. And at the end of the day, you can request evidence, hey, give me evidence. You don't want to trust what the answer is. You are an assessor. You said, proof, give me evidence of your AD list. And my guess is, again, I do not know what the response is going to be, but this role-playing stuff is going to tell you how to ask questions, and it keeps track of all this detail in a session, right? Right now we have a session going on, and it tracks how you're asking questions as an assessor, and later on is going to give you a feedback. Hey, coach, give me feedback on how I conducted this entire assessment, and it's going to walk you through. Right? So look, the response itself is a finding. A company can readily produce an AD user account listing that's something of operational maturity issue, right? And it says you can push on more evidence. You can interview Kevin Murphy. You can start building your score. You're already seeing signs that this may land at not met. I said, hey, I want to know from the coach, how I'm doing. Coach, how I am doing in this process, right? And hopefully coaching kicks in, and there's a coach feedback, and it says you attempted this practice. You haven't attempted this practice yet. Start with what and why to build foundational understanding, then take up a quiz. Right? Yeah, because I went from zero to being an assessor is basically complaining that I got to do some formal things, right? And it says, do you want to continue quiz? You want to have the coach explain that particular access control in depth, or you want to score the practice now and based on what I've gathered? I said, just score what I've gathered. And if I say, hey, you've not met this assessment, it's going to come back and tell me that, hey, you're being very rigid, right? You're being rigid. I'm going to say you have not met significant gaps. That's not how CMMC works. CMMC says, if they're doing something well, you can give them an improvement plan. It is saying, look, incorrect assessment, right? Incorrect assessment. And there are some gaps, but there's incorrect assessment. So I'm going to stop here, right? I mean, it kind of gives you an idea that a lot of these options answer and options coming back from Claude on what is next, start a new simulation, switch to audit role, deep dive into other domain practices, check overall CMMC progress dashboard. All this is coming from MCP, right? MCP is providing the context, and Claude is the one that is being the brain and the orchestrator, pulling this together for us. And that's your dashboard. And so what we also did with MCP is to also add MCP user interface. It's a UI hint. So all of this is stored on Cloudflare. And Cloudflare also has a hint, and that tells you when you're asking to produce an interface, it uses the template to produce progress dashboard and things like that. Right? So there's that. I can go on and on. I'm also cognizant of time, so I'm going to get to the next demo. Okay. So what does Claude do, right? And one is persona detection. It detects intent from natural language, maps to learning persona, consulting client, assessment prep, or your compliance analyst. It activates coaching stuff, and it presents interactive next step choices. You saw that it presented 2 or 3 choices along the way. The tool has 16 tools, right? 16 tools. All of them have across deep practice intelligence. So today we do CMMC. Tomorrow I can do uh, DevOps with GitHub Actions. I can do, it doesn't matter as long as there's enough intelligence or knowledge base, the context pulled in. We can create these kubelets, the knowledge bases, the MCPs, the MCP UIs, all through factory, right? All of that through factory. Adaptive learning engine, 15 domains, 110 practices. Assessment simulator, we've not spent a lot of time in the simulator, but it can simulate role-playing characters and all that stuff. Persistent state tracking, as you're doing the work, it tracks what you're working on and it replays it for you, so it can tell you what you did. Capabilities, I think I've kind of alluded to this. There are skills, there are agents and commands. You can trigger a skill in Claude. You can say, hey, just start with end-to-end learning journey. Just say CMMC journey, and it's going to start end-to-end with no questions asked, step by step by step. CMMC credential, it'll help you prepare for your exam. And the part that is most interesting for me is the other product we have. It's called the scaffold. And the scaffold is finding diagnostics. It helps you find where your gaps are in term between patterns and cognitive core, right? Pattern judgment framework. And that's a product I spent almost, I would say, 3 months, 90 days to build it out. The entire factory has been in works for 60 days. And there's a third product that's going to come out, the Passport. The Passport is in works. So with those 3, all of them using Claude, your RAG, sort of RAG on your Supabase vector stores. And there's entire technology architecture, which I'm going to show you in a second. Right? This is just one of the many. ChatGPT, right? Similar arrangement, but this is ChatGPT, right? And you say, look, you can simply, I'm going to make this bigger. Tell me if this is all right.
Yeah, no, it's looking good now.
Right? It says, hey, explain, your security control level 2 to me, and it's going to connect to the factory, the CMMC factory, and it's going to just pull in the knowledge. And it's the same stuff, you're talking about. Here is what from the kubelet. Here's a why from the kubelet without encryption, stolen laptops, intercepted traffic. How do you think about this particular practice within the domain security controls? And assessor expectations, what good looks like, complete inventory of controlled unclassified information, proof of where those locations should be encrypted, common failures, most systems are encrypted, encryption exists but not enforced, keys stored along with encrypted data, how it connects, right? There is also connection piece. So yet another surface for presenting information. I did not do a whole lot of work other than saying, here's my MCP and a connector. And a connector is exact same thing like in Claude. You go and add your MCP connection. And next thing you know, you're powering ChatGPT. So now you have 2 surfaces, same interface. Going to keep going. And that is CMMC in general. Course factory, and this is one of my favorite ones, in terms of the factory itself. And this is how the factory looks, right? And remember, I did say headless, but anybody can build this if you have access to a course factory. You can build a TypeScript based application and take all the MCP outputs and say, I want to create a course factory. So this is our course factory.
Sravan, can this one zoom in a little bit too?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes. Better?
Maybe one more click.
Okay. Yeah. Better?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So exact same concept. So you have the skill map. These are we do a research, and after we do research, market research, and gather knowledge and the context for how we're going to build some systems, and we have a competency taxonomy. The competency taxonomy is broken down into patterns, frameworks, systems, system of systems, cognitive core. And this is for AI systems with systems thinking. Right? That's what the course is about. There's a FinOps with systems thinking, and these are all ones that we baked together. There's knowledge graph. The knowledge graph is Neo4j. Neo4j based graph. Hopefully, it's going to pull the information on and show you how the graph works. We can do artificially introduced. We can do a signal gen. So if we are short on time and we don't want to wait for 5 days for the synthetic introductions of signals from the data to come from the marketplace, what's changing, and all that, we can artificially introduce a signal into the system so it triggers kubelet production. So kubelet production is also a process, and the process, I do not know why it's taking a little longer today. Hopefully, one or more of these will show up. So the idea here is, you have each of these kubelets not only produces the simulator, they also produce your video, the audio, your quizzes. Entire production happens from smallest granular unit all the way to a course. And so here is an example of the presentation that's been produced.
Knowledge graph systems.
And it is all through a factory. And these are assets, they're MP3 files, slides, MP3 files. All of this is produced from a course factory. So you got a simulator plus all the other artifacts that make up your course from a factory. We have, everybody says, hey, in this world of what's it called, OpenClaw, can you do OpenClaw stuff? So we actually built this entire, you drop the set of kubelets in, and the agents work on the back end as a batch job, working around, each job is managed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different agents. They're working on the back end to produce stuff. So there's an agentic stuff on the back end. Read the signal, classifies what is it that needs to be produced, research, acceptance, writing, QA. All of that is produced through a swarm inside of a factory. That's the user interface. Let's see if I can get there in a second and connect my factory to Claude. Right? I'm going to connect my factory. I'm not going to go through the user interface. What I want to do is I want to connect to my factory. It's already connected. Let's see what my demo script says. I do have a script so that I can stay on point. Right? Give me 1 second here. And the first one is literally, I know the answer and you know the answer, but let's ask the question. Is the course factory a platform healthy? Right? Is it working? And it's going to go back and assess, it is going to the course factory. You saw the MCP connection. And hopefully, I do not know what Udemy has to do here, which is definitely not a right one. Something happened. It is not connected.
I thought we just checked and it was connected. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, It is not connected. Give me one more second. It's possible that the other place we were coming from, right? I had another Claude instance running.
Yep.
So, and that was enabled for CMMC. This one is enabled for Course Factory. So it's going to go find the health of the system. We know we have about 4 courses in the catalog, right? And hey, by the way, it is Neo4j. Storage is working. Swarm is working. All queues are clear. So show me all the courses in the factory. At least 4 should show up. Right? At least 4 should show up. And it's grabbing the course list, course factory. That's AI systems for systems thinking, right? And say, look, what are the common? What are the apply? Remember, one of the faces of cube is an apply. What are the apply faces across AI systems with systems thinking kubelets? Let's do this one more time, right? I'm going to grab that. What are the kubelets available for AI systems with systems thinking? Right? Let's ask the question: what kind of lowest granular knowledge atoms available with this particular course? And hopefully it'll tell us what kubelets are available. And next thing we're going to ask this is, okay, I know each kubelet has an apply face. I want to know what the apply face looks like across all of them. So here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kubelets. And now I'm going to say, hey, what are the common apply faces across it? Because I'm trying to find if I need to be learning something that is common across, or should I be thinking about a grandeur plan at highest levels of leadership thinking? I do not know, right? And it's going to go pull information and aggregate all the apply faces across systems thinking. What it does, what you get to see here is, now that I have all this, I can build my own interface on top of it. I can say, hey, create me a simulator, or create me a quiz, or create me all of that. All of that is being tracked, and it's going to get verified, and it's stored. It's awesome from what I think. That MCPs tooling have enabled us to be able to produce this level of substance that was very hard to do in the past. Right here is each of them is coming back and telling you machine learning pipelines, audit distributions, knowledge graph systems, and it's doing all that stuff. Yep. With 15 minutes left, right, what I want to do is be able to, if you want, I can spend another hour after the briefing here to show you the under the covers what it looks like. But that's demo 3, and the demo 3 itself is huge. Okay. The architecture. So I want you to spend about 8 minutes on understand what I'm telling you in over the last 35-40 minutes in 8-minute video.
Every organization that trains technical professionals faces a brutal mathematical reality. The half-life of technical knowledge has shrunk to 2.5 years. By the time a curriculum is built, its value has evaporated. The traditional human supply chain for learning material is inherently bottlenecked. A subject matter expert spends weeks writing content. An instructional designer structures it. A media team produces it. Quality assurance reviews it. And an administration team finally publishes it. That cycle takes 10 to 15 weeks. In domains like cybersecurity, cloud architecture, or AI governance, attackers find new vectors, and regulatory frameworks update in a matter of days. A 15-week delay ensures the material is obsolete upon delivery. The engineering challenge is clear. We have to compress a 15-week human production cycle into a strict 5-day automated workflow, moving from a raw market signal to published quality-gated learning content. This diagram shows the required structural reinvention. This compression results from snapping these disparate human functions into a rigid, autonomous architecture, rather than simply asking a large language model to type faster. Removing human bottlenecks without introducing AI hallucinations requires an entirely new operating model. It demands autonomous pipelines constrained by strict programmatic data structures. Scaling artificial intelligence in an enterprise setting is an exercise in structural engineering. It requires rebuilding the system from the atomic level up. The foundational rule of this architecture is simple. Unstructured AI output cannot be reliably scored, measured, or improved. If you cannot measure it, you cannot automate it. To solve this, we replace raw text generation with a strict programmatic data structure called the kubelet. This animated diagram shows how a single kubelet unpacks into 6 specific geometric faces. Each face maps to a distinct cognitive dimension required for mastery. The what provides declarative definitions. The why builds the business case. The how maps procedural mechanics. Where and when defines situational boundaries. Finally, apply provides the performative action framework. Every kubelet passes through an automated quality gate. The system strictly evaluates each face on a 10-point scale, requiring a minimum score of 6 per face and an aggregate score of 42 out of 60. Unlike human workflows, there are no lingering draft states. If a single face falls below the threshold, it is rejected and looped back for targeted revision. A kubelet either meets the standard and ships, or it ceases to exist in the system. Encoding quality as a strict structural interface provides mathematical reliability. It allows us to dictate the exact quality ceiling of an autonomous factory without requiring constant human intervention. A common misconception in system design is that a single, massive frontier model should handle all generative tasks simultaneously. This flow diagram illustrates a high-throughput, hallucination-resistant alternative. It decomposes the massive cognitive load across a pipeline of 5 specialized AI agents. First, a smaller, highly efficient model acts as the research agent, prioritizing rapid retrieval of facts. It packages this raw data and hands it to mid-tier models optimized specifically for drafting and editing the 6 faces of the kubelet. The draft then reaches the QA reviewer agent. This node utilizes the most capable top-tier model available because applying judgment to enforce the quality gate is the most cognitively demanding task in the system. If the kubelet fails the threshold, the system triggers an event-driven internal feedback loop. The QA agent does not issue a generic rejection. It generates specific remediation instructions for the exact face that failed, routing it back to the writer node. Once approved, the publisher agent executes in parallel. It simultaneously routes the validated knowledge into presentations, interactive assessments, and the core database. Matching specific model capabilities to exact task complexities yields better logic, higher quality outputs, and significantly lower compute costs than relying on monolithic prompts. To manage the relationships between this generated content and the people who need it, standard relational databases fall short. Knowledge hierarchies and learning prerequisites require a graph database to navigate complex traversals. This overlapping structure represents the operational knowledge graph. It operates across 3 distinct zones. On the left, in the diagnostic zone, the engine maps a specific professional against their job role. When a capability falls below the required standard, these nodes glow red, identifying exact competency gaps. These gaps immediately send an automated event signal across the shared bridge zone. This signal routes into the content zone, instructing the course factory pipeline to prioritize and build the exact kubelets needed to solve that specific deficit. The loop also operates in reverse. Once the learner engages with the content and demonstrates capability, a new mastery relationship routes back across the graph, updating the learner's profile permanently. This constant dynamic loop turns the knowledge graph into an active operational controller, directing production in real time rather than serving as a passive storage repository. The most aggressive architectural choice of the course factory is its lack of a user interface. There is no web dashboard and there is no admin panel. The assumption that enterprise AI tools require bespoke web forms, React components, and complex styling has been discarded. This schema maps the replacement. The entire system is accessed through MCP, or the Model Context Protocol. MCP acts as a universal interface layer, allowing an AI agent to interact directly with the factory's 50 internal tools. Instead of clicking through menus, operators dictate their intent in natural language. The AI acts as the translator, taking that human intent and converting it into exact tool schemas to execute the work. This provides massive leverage for progressive automation. The exact same MCP tools triggered by human prompts today can be triggered entirely by automated market signals tomorrow, requiring zero changes to the underlying code. Building the interface as an AI to AI protocol provides the most scalable and resilient path for an AI native operational system. We deploy this architecture into high stakes environments, like CMMC. CMMC, the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, is a strict set of defense contractor requirements where compliance failures result in lost contracts. This bounding box represents the ground truth constraint. The system generates fictional organizations with predetermined compliance dates locked into the graph. As learners interview AI stakeholders and request evidence documents, the ground truth container mathematically prevents the AI from hallucinating false compliance claims. The AI can be evasive or imperfect in its dialogue, but it cannot contradict the locked compliance state. Every decision the learner makes during the simulation updates their profile using Bayesian knowledge tracing. Bayesian knowledge tracing is a probabilistic model that continuously recalculates the exact likelihood that a learner has mastered a specific concept based on their ongoing performance. The application of judgment under ambiguous conditions provides the most accurate measure of true professional capability. Pulling back, we can see how these distinct engineering choices lock together. At the base of this blueprint sits the operational knowledge graph, continuously managing state, vector search, and automated market intelligence. On top of that foundation rests the processing layer. This is the 5-stage multi-agent production pipeline governed strictly by the kubelet quality gates. This pipeline feeds directly into the output layer, powering high-fidelity CMMC simulations, presentation generators, and adaptive coaching engines. And capping the entire structure is the unified interface. The Model Context Protocol drives and automates the whole stack without a single visual dashboard. By combining strict data structures, multi-model agent pipelines, and event-driven data loops, we move past the concept of AI as a simple generative assistant. We arrive at a fully autonomous, self-operating knowledge factory. Every organization...
Yeah. So, a couple of things to take away is one, you can play too, by the way. You're welcome to play. And the CMMC, kubelet.ai, MCP. If you go to the pricing model, and I'll share that in a second, you can just simply play. And you can grab the ChatGPT assessment simulator. That too, Jim, and anybody can play. Simply ask to start a prompt. I think the conversation starters in ChatGPT. You can push a button and boom, next thing you know is you're engaging with a CustomGPT and the kubelet platform. These are there, and it should give you an idea or two of how they all come together. And so the other parts of the puzzle, remember I did say I was a founder builder, is the idea of how do you integrate MCPs with a pricing model. So we have there's a generous free usage of calls, MCP calls. The lookups, simply lookups on CMMC, 50 lookups are free. Coaching, 10 coaching sessions. You can ask a question on something that is related to CMMC and say, look, coach, I don't understand, help me out. There's 5 simulations. You can actually say, hey, I want to engage with a fictional organization. I want to be an assessor. You can say 50 lookups, 10 coaching sessions, and 5 simulations for no cost, no credit card required. And after that is 5 cents a call, 15 cents for coaching, 25 cents for simulation. If you're preparing and you want to learn anything specific like the CMMC, per month, it should not cost you more than $18.25. But this is not it. Our factory is going to produce ISO 27001, 42001, 27701, which is privacy, Texas, the Triaga, EU law, and all GRC stuff. We're not done that yet. If you have an idea or two that you want to actually use the factory for, factory is not limited to governance stuff. Factory is factory. Factory can synthesize, research, produce an MCP simulator, give you the MCP builder, all of this, right? But there's a price to it. We're not formalized what the price is going to be for the course factory, but it is a powerhouse. And I'm very proud of what we built as a founder builder, and there's more to come. And there's the second part is integration with Scaffold, the scaffold.co. That's also a product. And the last one is a passport. 3 products in tandem working together. You ain't seen nothing yet. Right? Where else can you apply these simulators? Healthcare, financial services, workforce development, legal and compliance, energy and infrastructure, insurance and reinsurance, manufacturing and supply chain, higher ed and corporate L&D. Almost invariably, every one of them, they say, look, I want to onboard a new person. We want to get them ready. We want to teach them how to think about certain ways businesses make decisions. If there is a thing or two right out of the catalog, you want to apply it, there is there. But if you want to customize a simulator, talk to us, right? Talk to me. Yes, L&D compliance, you can show you how to close capability gaps, train judgment and real assessment conditions, verify performance across humans and AI agents, and of course, anytime you want us to do live simulation, we can do that too. So hopefully I did all this in 1 hour's time, Jim.
I think you under an hour. You landed. We do have some maybe some Q&A if there's question. You know, I'll at least have some questions, but for those on the chat, if you have extra questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll read them out loud for Sravan. But you put 2 hours of content into 1 hour, which is fantastic. Just a simple question from Saba. Kind of what we saw, and Saba maybe joined a little bit on the back half, and maybe missed some of the beginning. But kind of what's the technology under the hood? So you've seen it; it looks pretty cool. But like, what technologies are underneath? Like Python, Neo4j.
Yeah, I think you said it, Jim. So one is Claude, and Claude Agent, Claude Agent SDK, Claude, and of course, you saw 3 different models being used. We use all 3: Haiku, Sonnet, and Opus. And so Claude Agent SDK. Claude is also built in the agentic kit. It always also uses, because it's basically cloud code on steroids. So each agent also has access to your file systems, and which means they have access to skills, and skills have gone, I don't know, I think we have robust skills.md files kind of developed that agent reads to drive everything else. So there's a whole lot of skill development for each of those agents. And so they all run in a sandbox, and the MCP itself is running on Cloudflare worker infrastructure. And we have done a lot of work back and forth to optimize for tokens. And so MCP on Cloudflare has best practices on how to do discovery of tools and how to optimize for tools. So that is built in. We have vector store on I think Neo4j acts as both a graph and vector store combo. We used to have Pinecone before. We dropped that because that was just the extra layer of work. So now it's all in Neo4j. We have so Neo4j for graph. We have MCP stuff. And MCP UI is new. So don't be surprised if you're going to add agent to agent Ag UI. And Ag UI is new. Ag UI would be communications between agents themselves. But we started out at MCP UI. Ag UI is coming. That's the next. I don't know. There's a lot of guardrails and CloudMD files and agentic coding. The beauty of this is if you have a good harness in Cloud Code and you have built out, I use 3 different plugins inside Cloud Code, which does testing. I use Obra superpowers. I use human layer. I use compound engineering. And compound engineering, human layer, Obra superpowers, end-to-end testing, a lot of GitHub, and keep an eye on back and forth. So building systems is not hard. What are you going to build is the complex part. once you do it, then the last 10% is a nightmare, right? First 90%, hey, I have an idea I want to build. But this level of detail on what you want to build, how you want to organize the evals, there's a lot of evals here, eval observations and evals. We use Phoenix, Ares Phoenix for evals. Ares Phoenix for evals, a lot of testing, 3 different plugins for coding, and I can go on and on. I hope that helps.
Yeah, so I think that definitely got into more of the technical details on what we got at the beginning. Saba has a follow-up question, then I'll get to Devin's question. So AGUI is a co-pilot kit. It's been in that Next.js app. That app is dark theme, can provide more than what you can achieve with Cloud Skills app. Do you know the AGUI Copilot kit?
Well, I've used Copilot Kit, and unfortunately, the Copilot Kit does not work inside Claude.
Yeah.
And I do not know if it works inside of OpenAI. And it was one more layer that was giving us grief, Saba. So we just yanked it out, right? Yanked it out, and it was way too much conversation and chatter. One more layer to debug, so we yanked it out.
Sure.
So for the dark theme stuff, the neumorphic stuff, we use front-end design skill from Claude and said, hey, front-end design skill, Claude. And we took a picture of neumorphic, a bunch of pictures, and said, look, we want our look to look like a factory, and we wanted neumorphic, and the front-end design skill helped us out.
Gotcha. All right. So, Sab, hopefully that answers your question. Devin's digging into, he's working on energy grid solutions for Texas. Could use some insights on how AI agents can connect or be connected to these for much better LLM cubes. And then kind of cycling back, can we connect these exact cubes into quantum APIs like D-Wave tech? So overall context is energy grid solutions. And then, I haven't heard of quantum APIs like D-Wave tech. Maybe you have.
My answer to every question is going to be, look, do I have enough context of the information that we're going to use to build a solution? So if the idea of quantum and quantum related, energy related stuff, if I have the knowledge base, we can build, right? The answer is we can build. We can even build wonderful animations and visualizations. And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. I may want to know what that knowledge sources look like to convert that into the next set of kubelets. And again, knowledge atoms are composable. So you can build the lowest granular atom and then compose it to whatever we want. So the quick answer is yes. By the way, I think at Saba, we use Context 7. So Context 7 is also used inside cloud coding stuff to pull in the latest and the greatest info for anything you want. We've used Firecrawl in the past to fetch info. So Cloud Context 7. And I think world is our oyster now that, hey, what we need is information to power agents and context engineering stuff and to build things. Just give me the sources. Otherwise, I'm going to go to research from archive.org to Notebook LLMs and pull that together and build a powerhouse.
Oh, great. So not seeing any more questions in the chat. And I usually have, well, not usually, I always have one non-technical question. It's the same one for all our presenters. And we have, tend to have people from early in their career to, experienced people that join us. And one thing that we're all working through is, steps in our career. It's always at least interesting to hear career advice from people that have been in the industry a long time. Any tidbits along the way that you like to that you found useful or continue to find useful, career advice that you would give to those people that are on the call?
Oh, there's a lot there, lot packed there, right, Jim? So one thing I would say, again, I'm looking at today and looking forward. Where we are today is a very different place than what it was about a year ago. And the biggest one is AI. AI is playing a big role here. And the only way to learn is getting your hands dirty. Right? In fact, it's getting easier to get your hands dirty. Claude, I've not spent time in talking about Claude Cowork. Right? So if you don't want to be in code, you can be in Cowork, and you can enable a whole lot of stuff. So at a minimum, the top 1%er of any kind of ChatGPT or Claude user says, sorry, I'm just coughing. There are about 22 to 25 features. I think we don't use more than 3 or 4 features in any of those products. Yeah. Dig in. If you want to be a ChatGPT user, dig into all those features. Make yourself a project and have conversations, use prompting, build your systems instructions inside a Claude CustomGPT, or you can do custom instructions inside Claude projects and start building stuff. And you'll pleasantly surprise yourself on how much you can build and how fast you can build. The problem is that because before you think the system is ready, you got to think 100 steps further, because in 5-10 minutes of conversation, your system has been built. So I want everybody to be in the today, build. Anybody and everybody should be building. Roll up your sleeves and build. $20 is a pretty good dollar amount. You don't have to spend a lot of money. $20, you can actually accomplish quite a bit. And I've seen the certifications. You should get certifications, 1 or 2. And I have only one certification in my entire life. That was PMP, and that was from 25 years ago, and I kept maintaining it. So good, bad, ugly, I build and I don't have certifications, if that means anything, right? And I love technology, and I'm going to spend 15-hour days if I have to build stuff. So you got to be persistent. AI screws you up many times. Don't give up. So what the bottom line is, stay in the game, be persistent, be a tinkerer, not just a thinker. Let the thinking go. The thinking, I used to say you got to be a thinker and not a tinkerer. But I'm going to say, look, AI is doing a lot of tinkering stuff, so you got to start thinking too. Right? The engineering pieces are here. You got to lead it. Anybody and everybody, including those that have the experience, my request to all of them is the same, which is start building stuff.
No, that's great, and yeah, to see the factory in action and attached to 2 different to surfaces, to ChatGPT and to Claude, just and not necessarily having to hand code the UI. You're able to work on the factory UI with the skill in Claude Code. So the code is maybe less valuable nowadays than the ideas of what do you want to build. So I guess have those ideas and harness the agents and tools that are available to help you build them.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a tool every day, right? There's a tool every day, but I think the most ones that I spend time on is the classic stack. I don't really care about is it Claude or your anti-gravity or something else or a cursor. I spend more time on what am I trying to build, right? Is it and I think my coding has improved because of the number of things that are available with skills.sh, right? And if you go to the skills, you can download a bunch of skills. And I think keeping an ear to the ground, a lot of TLDRs that come my way. There are about 50 TLDR newsletters that come every single day. And what I look for is the high-level stuff. Am I improving my skill, not just skill.md file or agent.md file? I look at what can I do to make sure that I'm not making the same mistake over and over again. I want to remove mistakes, right? And if I can get 5 minutes back through, whether it's test-driven development, behavioral-driven development, or some kind of a skill I can plug in, and I can remove some of that ambiguity from my structure through Claude MD, that's the 15 minutes saved, and I don't have to debug anything, and I just I know it works. So it's about refining, right? Iterative. My harness has improved over the course of last 12 months. It's not the same. What I started out 12 months ago and what it is today, it's very different. But I wouldn't have known that I had to improve the way I do my work until I actually invested in it. A Claude.md changed, and it keeps changing because I see something new somebody has developed and I play around with it. If it's good, I use it. If not, I dump it. Right? A cost of experimentation is 0.
Oh, that's great. All right, Sravan, I was just thinking that I was assuming this is your last slide. Is this the did we make it to the end? We did, right?
This is it.
So again, thanks, Sravan. Little quiet golf clap round of applause. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending an hour with us to dig into how you're thinking about training systems of the future that are real-time, up-to-date on compliances. Let people kind of work through on either a self-directed pace or a guided through by the LLM. How you're trying to kind of package those atoms of knowledge and skill into into the kubelets that are available, and yeah, looks. And on top of that, talking about how you've kind of built it, not just the idea of harnessing the data, what kind of the tools and the technology that you're using to build the system. So really appreciate it, Sravan.
Appreciate the time here, and for everybody who heard me, thank you. Have a great evening.